Welcome back, Geordies. It's a really strange one I'm going to do a video on today. The Alexander Isak injury. And more so just to touch on it from a Newcastle fan perspective and give a little bit of light on this subject. Because to be quite honest, there's a lot of stuff floating around online. Mainly Anfield agenda. Craig Holden. So Craig Holden's come out and said, Newcastle fans are entitled to have their opinion, but, wishing that Alexander Isak got injured and the way we're acting is a terrible way to act around a fan base. And, just because a person's left, you don't see Brentford fans putting up, posts that Johan Wissa's a rat for leaving and so on and so forth. But if we just pause that right there, the first club to do this was Liverpool. Trent's a rat, Trent's a rat, Trent's a rat. Let's burn a shirt, Trent's a rat. Now, Trent Alexander-Arnold left to go to a bigger club. Now, he waited out his contract. He did it respectfully. He didn't shout about it in the media. He didn't put out a statement saying he wanted to leave, he'd had enough, so on and so forth. He just stayed quiet until his time came and he moved to a bigger club. Now, if Alexander Isak had done the same thing and kind of shown a bit of respect to the club that gave him so much, and people will say we gave him nothing, he made it himself. If that was the case, then he'd be doing the same thing at Liverpool, wouldn't he? Our whole team set up was based around supplying Isak to give him the platform to be the striker that he became. And a great striker he is. And while he's had a shit stint at the start of Liverpool, I'm sure he'll come back and he'll be an incredible striker again. But that's not the point. The point is a fan base being slated for poking fun at something that's happened. They're only poking fun at something that's happened through retaliation. We spent an entire summer putting up with shit from Liverpool fans, putting up with shit from other fans across the Premier League at how we were going to lose Isak to the bigger team. Then act like it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things that at the end of the day, you can't expect Newcastle fans to put up with all the shit of how you're going to steal him away and free Isak and so on and so forth, and then expect us to have sympathy when he gets an injury. Now, do I wish that injury upon him? No, not at all. Do I hope that he's shit for Liverpool every game he plays? Yeah, sure. Why not? There's nothing funnier than us watching us sell a player for 130 million and him turn into the most dogshit striker in the Premier League. But if we put into context why his performances have been so bad, it's of his own making. If you choose not to train, if you choose not to play, if you choose not to have a pre-season, and then when you're told by the club or by the manager, stay out of the media, stay out of the limelight, just get on with training while we go off to Korea to do our pre-season, and you choose to hop on a plane and head off to your old club Real Sociedad and half-arse your pre-season, and then come back and half-arse your training, and then expect to come into a Premier League season and be tip-top and just walk into that Liverpool team and score goals. Well, there you go. What did you expect? The ego and the arrogance of this guy is what sets him apart from all the rest. The arrogance and the ego of thinking he could just walk in, turn it on, everything will be fine, I'm Alexander Isak, is maybe flawed from being at Newcastle and people telling him how fucking great he was all the time, when actually, if you don't put in the work, you're nothing, just the same as everyone else. You can be as shit a striker as you fucking want if you don't put in any hard work. And I'm sure Liverpool fans will draw a comparison to Johan Wissa with this and say, well, he did exactly the same thing. And, oh, you're such a hypocrite for saying it. But it was only 2 weeks ago, that you're all slating Mo Salah. Every single Liverpool fan online was saying, fucking Mo's got no idea. Oh, this is what he does. He done this to get the contract. He's just doing this to get a move. It's the same thing. When a player at your club says he doesn't want to play for your club or he doesn't feel like he's being treated properly, It's exactly the same thing. Now, I don't care what Mo Salah said. I don't care what Johan Wissa did. I don't think it's the best thing to do, but I don't care. The only reason we cared about Alex Isak is because he was ours. So, at the end of the day, when you turn around and say this fan base, that fan base, the rest, honestly, I get Liverpool fans are probably the top comments on my videos because they cannot leave the Geordies alone. They love to put the oar in all the time. Well, what do you expect? You expect Newcastle fans not to retaliate. I just think it's fucking hilarious. I think it's hypocritical. I think it shows toxic parts of a fan base, toxic parts of society. Now, I'm quite happy. I could quite enjoy fan banter. I quite enjoy the rub of the green. Sometimes you get to poke fun at others and sometimes you have to take the shit. It doesn't really bother me because I'm proud of what my football club's done. I'm proud of the football club we are, and I love my fan base. There is no better people. There is no better fans on the planet than the Geordies. There is no community that looks after each other in the way that the Geordies do. There is no one that will sing their hearts out in the way that the Geordies do. There is no one that will give that sense of feeling, that sense of belonging and that sense of loyalty to a player like the Geordies do. And go through war flags. Go back and look at our displays. Go back and look at the displays that we put up for Alexander Isak before he played a match. An entire stadium with a standing ovation. An entire stadium chanting his name. You won't get that at Liverpool. You won't get it. You might get a mural put on the wall that will get painted over as soon as you leave because you're a rat, because you've fucked off to Real Madrid for more money. When actually what they should have done was looked after their own, looked after their youth and paid him what he was worth. You know, and the same to be said. Newcastle fans were upset when Isak left. Of course they were. If we could have afforded to pay him the money, we'd have paid him the money. And if he'd have stayed and respectfully played and then said, you know what, I can't pass up the opportunity. I want to go to Liverpool. They're the bigger club. They've got a bigger history. They've got more trophies. Newcastle fans would have given him their blessing. We would have looked at it and said, well, you know, thanks for the memories, Alex, and, you know, best of luck in the future. But he didn't. It's the way he acted. And the way he acted is the reason that Newcastle fans are giving out shit online. And most of all, when you've got people like Craig Holden giving it the cry more and saying how, you know, Newcastle should just step aside and accept the natural order. That's the same thing that happened with Trent. And you were the one that was fucking crying about it at the time. It's super hypocritical. It's just fucking bullshit. And it's just rage baiting online. What makes me laugh is, if we took the same example, so Elliot Anderson, I watch Nottingham Forest highlights every weekend. Every weekend I make sure I go and watch the Nottingham Forest highlights because Elliot Anderson is one of our own. Now, he has left Newcastle United. I wish he never left. I think the lad is fucking class. I think he has got the ability to go on and be one of the best midfielders in England. I think he will be a stalwart for England national team for years to come. He will always be the Geordie Maradona. Whether he's playing for Forest or whether he's playing for another club, he will always be the Geordie Maradona. And I will always follow his career because he's one of our own. And the difference being, Newcastle have sold players to Liverpool throughout history. We sold Andy Carroll. James Milner ended up at Liverpool eventually. We've had Gini Wijnaldum go to Liverpool. None of those players we called out and said they were a rat. None of those players we went, fuck him. None of those players disrespected Newcastle Football Club. They all said thanks for their time. They all thanked the fans for what was given to them. And they moved on to a bigger club. Alex Isak didn't do that. And while Liverpool fans might think it's toxic, We have had enough shit from you guys to last a fucking lifetime. So there will be parts of the Newcastle fan base that will be revelling in the fact that you've had a dog shit start to the season, your defence looks fucking awful, and the striker you've signed for 130 million isn't performing. Now, do I agree that they should jump on the bandwagon that he's broken his leg? No, I don't. But can you understand why they're doing it? Yes, I can. So, all in all, I'm sure I'll get a fuckload of shitty comments in the aftermath of this video, but go for it, bring it on. I'm quite happy to debate this topic. I think every fan base looks along the line and says, I'm sure Brentford fans will be looking at Wissa when he blew his knee out at the start of his career at Newcastle and went, ha, fair fucks. That's karma. A lot of Newcastle fans will be looking at it going, fair fucks, that's karma to Alex Isak. But either way, guys, if you've liked the video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Get involved in the comments. All you Liverpool fans, all you Sunderland fans, because I know deep down you just want to be Geordies, make sure you get involved in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next one.